tula at awit sa paglalaligawan. Ang isang ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidibdib. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magiging. Lupa ng araw ng buwan at ikasin ka, buhay langit sa mo. Ang hindi kaya na pag may mga api, namatay ng dahil sa'yo.
The Leyte Normal University Vision, Mission, Quality Policy, and Core Values. The LNU Vision, a leading university of education and diverse disciplines attuned to local and global development needs. The LNU Mission, to produce top-performing professionals equipped to engage in knowledge and technology production so necessary to develop a sustainable society. The LNU Quality Policy. We at the Leyte Normal University commit to pursue satisfaction of our customers through good governance, quality and relevant instruction, research, extension and support services, and to continuously improve our quality management system in compliance with ethical standards and applicable statutory, regulatory, and stakeholders' requirements. The LNU management commits to maintain and monitor our quality management system and ensure availability of adequate resources. The LNU core values: integrity. We are accountable, honest, trustworthy, respectful, and ethical in our actions. We uphold a level of independence that assures confidence. Excellence. We persistently pursue success and continuously look for innovative ways to improve our services. Service. We serve our internal and external customers with a smile. We deliver outstanding service to all, regardless of status, creed, color, and race.
EIP objectives: to provide intellectually stimulating, challenging learning environment, to develop skills in the various fields of information technology, to foster high-quality teaching in the field of ICT, provide a dynamic course content that is responsive to the changing ID environment. Webinar objectives. Give insight about digital social engineering and its impact on the modern world. Increase awareness about social engineering attacks. To be able to identify digital social engineering attacks in real-world settings, we impart knowledge about the 7 key principles of digital social engineering.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Harold, for that introduction. I'm very honored to be with you this afternoon. Even if it is a holiday here, no, I'm not sure if it is also a holiday there. But regardless, no, it is so nice to see you. Leyte is very close to my heart because I work in DICT Visayas Cluster 2, which involves both Region 7 and Region 8. So from time to time, I also visit there pre-pandemic to do our activities, to conduct and implement our government initiatives from DICT. For you, no, especially for you students, most especially that we have our Philippine Startup Challenge, no, and I believe our students right here joining us are more on information technology. Am I right? Or engineering, perhaps?
Yes, sir. All the students who are here in this webinar is BSIT.
BSIT. All right, good to know. So we hope to see you, no, especially shameless plug na lang since we are DICT has a startup competition for you students, and it is the deadline will be on December 30. So if in case you have some startup ideas there, we have something in store for you. You can visit our nearest DICT sa may post office, yung sa may yung may SM, am I right, in Tacloban City. I think that's the nearest DICT office there. But anyways, allow me to share my screen. I hope you are ready, no, our students. I cannot speak what I know. What I only know is maupay nga kulop and maupay nga aga. And other than that, I could not understand anymore. So let our medium of communication this afternoon be English or Tagalog, no? So that we can understand each other well. So I actually want this webinar interactive. So if you have some questions, if you have something to say, or you have something you find it negative, or you have a violent reaction, go ahead and I am presenting my screen. Go ahead and put it in our chat panel. All right. So I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay. So okay, let me adjust something muna. Okay. Yan. Sige, so can I begin now? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. So, my topic this afternoon is digital social engineering. But before anything else, let's have a mini pop quiz. Grabe si Sir, no? Una pa lang quiz kagad. But just, just something to refresh our minds, no? Because of course, in the future, IT and engineering can work together actually. No? So our topic for our mini quiz is engineering. All right. Do we have engineering courses ba or programs in LNU?
We don't have, sir, about engineering.
Wala pa. Okay. Wala pang engineering. Okay, so perhaps baka may mga frustrated engineers din dito, no? Wala kasing engineering sa LNU, so I'd rather take up IT, which is actually we are somewhat related with each other. IT and engineering, they go well really together, no? So here we go. Saglit lang, ha? So may naayos ako sa settings. Video. Sige. So without without searching in Google, without researching sa internet, please provide your answers in our chat panel to our students now and to our audience. Go ahead, if you know the answer, please type it in our chat panel. No? So before we proceed with the quiz, let me first give you a background of what engineering is. So engineering is the branch of science and technology concerned with the design, building, and use of engines, machines, structures, and various other platforms, no? From the root word na engine, that's why we call it engineering. Now, in the next 6 slides for our quiz, for our pop quiz, identify the field or category of engineering that the statement pertains to. Okay? Once again, identify the field or category of engineering the statement pertains to, since, di ba, engineering has a lot of subfields, no? So, paunahan ng sagot? Ayan. Do you still see my screen, class? Parang nawala.
No, sir. Nawala po, sir.
Nawala. Sige, let me share again, ha? Saglit lamang. Okay, how about that one? Ayan na, bumalik na, no? So once again, in the next 6 slides for our mini quiz, identify the field or category of engineering the statement pertains to. Okay, so your gut feel lang, what kind of engineering? Is it, petroleum engineering? Is it aviation engineering, since there's a lot of subfields, no? So I hope you understand the instruction. Let's make use of our chat panel, or our chat box for your answers. All right. So first statement. Okay, first statement. This is the kind of engineering involved in solving physical infrastructure problems where engineers of this field create projects related to designing, building, and maintaining a wide range of public and private infra, such as bridges, roads, tunnels, dams, water, and sewer systems. What is that kind of engineering? All right. Our very first person to answer, we have si Rico. And his answer is civil engineering. What about the others? I think we have a consensus, no? Civil engineering. Is the answer civil engineering? Let's see it on the screen. Yes, congratulations to everyone who got it right. You are all correct. Civil engineering is in charge for infrastructure such as bridges, roads, tunnels, and everything else. Very good. Gagaling naman ng mga LNU students. Next statement. Engineers in this field focus on the design, testing, and manufacturing of electrical components such as motors, navigation, and communication systems, and power generation, and are involved in industries such as research, manufacturing, electronics, electricity, and electromagnetism. What kind of engineering is that? Who is our first person to answer? Si Eduardo. No, his answer is electrical engineering. Is it electrical engineering? Yes, correct. Did everyone get it right? Electrical engineering, electronic engineering. Okay, sige. The correct answer is electrical engineering. Actually, in other countries, no, they do not have electronics and communications engineering. But here in the Philippines, we have ECE, no? Electronics and Communication Engineering. Mostly, they are in charge of the communications in towers, no? In other countries, it is not that recognized. Okay, so the answer here is electrical engineering. Okay, most of you got it right. Next question, or next statement. Engineers of this field design, build, and develop mechanical and thermal sensing devices such as engines, tools, and machines. They are behind a huge range of products from electric generators to batteries, to refrigeration systems. Ayan na. So, the correct answer is mechanical engineering. Let me see your answers. I think ang pinakaunang nakapagbigay ng tama is si John Carl. Yan, congratulations. Ang galing naman ng mga students sa LNU. You already know this. Fourth statement. Engineers of this field use their knowledge of sciences such as chemistry, biology, physics, and math to solve problems that affect the use or production of chemicals, food, drugs, and more, and often work in laboratories and offices, no? Instead of mga factory houses or manufacturing places, they can be found mostly in laboratories. So what kind of engineering is this? Do we have already answers? The very first one to answer was Edralyn May. So let us check. Chemical engineering is correct. Congratulations. Ang gagaling. Ang gagaling talaga ng mga LNU students natin. Okay, let's proceed to the second to the last question or statement for our mini quiz. Engineers of this category research, design, develop, and test computer systems and components such as processors, circuit boards, memory devices, networks, and routers, and are basically involved into both programming or in the software side and hardware servicing. Ano kaya? Do we have an answer? Our first one to answer was Rainiel. His answer was computer E. Someone also answered software engineering, but let me reiterate, no? Involved into both software and hardware servicing. So the correct answer for that is computer engineering. Okay? So tama naman si Rinya. Okay, first one. And finally, our last question. Okay? For which type of engineering? It is the management of industrial labor, especially with regard to relationships between people and the real world without Googling it. What kind of engineering is that? Once again, it is the management of industrial labor, especially with regard to relationships between people and the real world. What kind of engineering is that? So John Carl answered social, Angelito answered social engineering. Dalawa lang? There are only two who answer this? Yung iba nagsisearch pa? Research pa? Ginugoogle pa? Wala? Only John Carl and Angelito are the brave souls who answered our last question, social engineering. Five seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wala? Wali? Sila lang? Okay, the answer is human engineering. Wow, bagong ano to, sir, ah. Mukhang ito ay bago sa aming pandinig. But they say human engineers are actually teachers daw, no? Because teachers or moderators give or train the future work or future field of their students. That's why teachers are also called human engineers, no? But that is something debatable, but still that is part of the engineering na field. Okay, so it is not social engineering. So sadly, John Carl and Angelito, your answers are incorrect. But however, I admire and appreciate your braveness, no, and your courage to answer. But the answer is human engineering. Okay. Now, given all those engineering categories and subcategories or fields, we also have what we call as a social engineering. All right. So this will be my topic for this afternoon. No. So anyone here who knows what social engineering is in his own words, no, or in his own definition without searching or without Googling? I'll give you 5 seconds to share what social engineering is for you. Anyone? Carl, Dave, do you want to answer? Wala, napindot lang ang unmute. Anyone else from LNU? Wala. How sad. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ang iba nagli-leave na kasi akala may recitation. Just kidding. But sige, let me define a little later social engineering, no? But before I proceed to defining it, let me tell you that social engineering is actually the bad kind of engineering. While everything else, while all other fields or all other categories of engineering are also good, they are for the improvement or they are for the welfare of our society. Say, for example, civil engineering is in charge for the creations of buildings, of structures, or of infrastructure, of bridges and tunnels, while mechanical engineering is in charge for creating or for inventing or developing machines and everything else. Social engineering is actually the opposite of everything because social engineering is actually bad and this should not actually be followed by anyone else, no, because this is actually illegal. Social engineering is penalized by law. Yan, nakikita ko si Jen Riv. Hi, Jen. Jen is the daughter of my workmate in the ICT, Claire. Hello, Jen. Okay, so social engineering is the bad kind of engineering. This is something you should not follow. This is penalized by law. This is something that we should avoid. And later on, as part of my overview, actually, I will provide you tips and ways on how we could do away from social engineering. All right? Sige, so let's go and let us shoot. No? Let's proceed. So, a phrase that is synonymous and tantamount to social engineering is this question. Nabudol ka na ba? Or nabudol na ba kayo? Has it ever happened to you na you were scammed, no? Or perhaps a family member of yours, perhaps your parents, no? Were deceived by transactions and money was taken away from you? Because budol is actually synonymous and is actually the very meaning of social engineering. Ang pambubudol, that is social engineering. And that is why this is the bad kind of engineering. Okay? So before, no, when we talk about history, no, in the Philippine setting, budol-budol has been rampant before, wherein there is a gang, budol-budol gang, they approach victims, especially the older people, no? They approach them and they transact with them, they become friendly, and in the end, they would take away the money of the victim, especially in banks, no? And they will replace it with fake monies or fake paper bills, mga bond papers lang na nakalagay sa bag. So that's how it was before, no? The very early stages of budol-budol, and that's how we actually coined our term for our budol. But now, as days grow the number, years grow the number, the budol-budol kind of deception has evolved, no? And it has become ever since digital. Since we are also evolving, our world has been changing from manual processes. We have moved on to automated transactions. We still have budol, no? Budol-budol is still rampant. Only that it has become digital, no? Mga tech-savvy na ang mga budol-budol gang natin. They have also evolved and they have transformed, no? To using ICT equipment, to using technology for them to victimize other people, no? Okay. So to give you more light, no? This just happened recently, a few days ago, I think last week. So last December 2, 2021, it has been reported in my hometown, no, because I am actually from Dumaguete City, working in Cebu City. So the Dumaguete City Police is looking for 3 women who allegedly emptied the ATM deposit of a Dipolog resident temporarily residing in Dumaguete. No? So there was this Dipolog noon, someone from Dipolog, who is currently residing in Dumaguete. So the incident happened in split seconds. The woman wearing a red ball cap, I think, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor. Kita nyo ba? So that one, the one I'm pointing, the woman wearing a red ball cap was able to swap the ATM card of the victim in black attire. Ito naka-sleeveless. No, ito malapit sa ATM. This is an alley of ATM, no? Iba-ibang mga banks. And this is just outside a certain mall in Dumaguete. I think si Jenjen nakapunta ng Dumaguete. Was it Jenjen or Tintin? But nevertheless, ikaw yun, Jen. Okay, so this happened in Dumaguete. So here goes the story. So earlier, the woman in ball cap was snooping around the victim while having problems with her card. And apparently was able to capture the PIN number. So si naka-red na ball cap, she was actually lurking behind this woman in sleeveless or naka-spaghetti na black behind her sa ATM, and she was able to capture the PIN, no? And the suspect suggested to use the other ATM booth since yung naka-sleeveless, parang problematic or erratic ang ATM. The gang members or one of the members suggested that she transfer to the nearest ATM booth. And it was at that instance that the card was swapped with a similar card with a name of a certain Victor Sr. Okay? So yung original card ni victim is napalitan ng another ATM card. And if we would actually remember, no, ang history sa ating budol-budol before the digital age, 'di ba, money were swapped, no? Cash or banknotes were swapped with fake papers or fake money bills. At this time, in this digital age, ang ATM card na ang pinalitan ng another similar na ATM card. Now, it was only later that she learned she was a victim of a budol-budol gang. So, as the post shares it, do not allow others to get hold of your ATM card and make sure nobody is snooping around while withdrawing cash from the ATM. The total cash that was withdrawn from that ATM card was 70,000 pesos lang naman. Wow. Grabe ang 70,000. Easy money for the social engineers, no? Okay. So anyone here who has their ATM cards? Meron ba tayong mga students? Do you already have your ATM cards or perhaps your parents, no? Please never ever share your ATM PIN or their ATM PIN or cover while you are transacting in the ATM booth. Take your PIN number na, it's either 4-digit or 6-digit. Take it as your password sa inyong Facebook account. No, or take it as your password for your access sa inyong mobile phones. Do you want others to know your password sa inyong Facebook? Do you want others to know of your passcode sa inyong cellphones or sa inyong laptops, no? Di ba, you do not. So be vigilant, be wary, no, na not to share or not to show your ATM. So this video actually works, no? Wala to siyang sound, but I'm not sure if this is of good quality sa Google Meet, no? Because we use Zoom, na okay lang, so I'm not sure here in Google Meet, but let us try if you can still see it clearly, no? So this is what happened. The actual CCTV footage of that incident. So wala lang siyang sound. Ayan. So as you can see, take note of the one wearing red na cap, no? Red ball cap. And as you can see, no, this is a very public area. Walang patawad ang mga attackers natin, ang mga social engineers. Because amid that, sa labas lang to, labas ng mall, where people are there at the bright daylight, no? Anyone can attack. So this is a 2-minute video. So ayan na, as you can see, no? Our suspect has been snooping around. At ayan na ang mga kasabwat niya na lapit din ng lapit, taking chances, doing their thing. At ayan na, nagsimula na sa kanilang show wherein they are trying to help our potential victim, no? Trying to provide assistance. So perhaps they're also pushing, no, the victim because perhaps nagmamadali din sila and so they wanted to help. So you can see even the one in the, yun na. If you can see, the one wearing cap was able to take hold of the card, and it was at that very moment when she was able to swap with a fake card. Yan. So at this time, there are still the police in Dumaguete still looking for these three criminals to our offenders. Okay? So baka kilala nyo, baka umabot din dyan sa Tacloban or sa Leyte ang modus ng ating social engineers, no? So our social engineers are those three na as if tumutulong. Okay? Sige. So social engineering is a term used for a broad range of malicious activities accomplished through human interactions. Okay? It uses psychological manipulation to trick users into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information. No? So there is a human interaction, and when we talk about human interaction, that's where social, no? That is where the term social comes in. Okay? So they talk, they do things so that the potential victim would be able to give away the information, the sensitive information or the confidential information, so that such social engineer can gain access to something. Okay? Now, simply defined, social engineering is the use of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. No? Since, of course, before someone is given access or someone is granted the allowance to access a system, he or she must find it out first, diba? From the potential victim. So simply put, it's the high-tech budol-budol. And as what I've mentioned earlier, no, if we do some research, social engineering has been around far longer than what cyber criminals are doing on computer networks. Even before these hackers came in, no? Even before piggy bankers came in, there has already been budol-budol. No, before in banks, madaming mga nabibiktima mga, especially mga matatanda, no, na there are people who would approach them and would provide assistance, na they will help them. Tapos dadalhin sa van na they own. And at some point nga, 'di ba? If you could remember, I'm not sure because you are younger than I am, but there is also a hypnotism involved before. And later, the victim would realize na wala na yung pera. It has been swapped with some fake paper bills. So it has been rampant and it has been evident even for a long time. Okay? So like in budol-budol, the saying goes, laway lang ang puhunan. And social engineers are really good in speaking and in convincing. They're actually good actors, no? Good actors, good actress, very good in drama because they are able to convince their victims through the use of their mouth, through the use of their language. Okay? Laway lang ang puhunan. So, social engineering attacks happen in one or more steps. Okay? A perpetrator first investigates the intended victim to gather necessary background information such as potential points of entry and weak security protocols needed to proceed with the attack. Okay? Then, the attacker moves to gain the victim's trust and provide stimuli for subsequent actions that break security practices, such as revealing sensitive information or granting access to critical resources. Now, social engineering has a lot of synonyms, even in our local language or in our vernacular. social engineering is tantamount to sweet talking, to deception, to budol, to swindling, which is an offense under our Republic Acts, to fraud, to scamming, di ba? Very renowned ang term na scammers these days, mga online scammers, mga estafador, and gancho or panggagancho, or di ba? Yan siya ay manggagancho. Okay? So ang panggagancho is also tantamount to social engineering. When we combine digital to social engineering, when we put an adjective na digital social engineering, that's already a social engineering that is making use of technologies, machines, websites, social media, equipment, and other ICT platforms to create an attack. Okay? As what I've mentioned earlier, social engineering has been there since time immemorial. Kahit wala pang mga computers, it has already been there. Only that, it has become high-tech today. Because social engineers now make use, especially that we have a lot of transactions online, especially ngayon na pandemic, and we are restricted from going out, and so we do business transactions or online na ang mga natin. Diba? Meron nga, if you could remember, there was one instance, I think was it Foodpanda ba or Grab in Metro Manila na madaming orders, pero wala palang tatanggap, or it is not the address. So everything has become digital now. And you, as IT students and future IT professionals, you also actually have, you will have the knowledge and skills to combat social engineering. So as future IT professionals, there is something in you, especially in what you are learning right now, in your skills as future programmers, there is a lot that you can contribute so that we can combat social engineering. So do not become social engineers, but rather let us help fight social engineering and social engineers. So what makes social engineering especially dangerous is that it relies on human error rather than vulnerabilities in software and operating systems. So if hackers try to search for weak spots in a certain system so that they can gain control or they can gain access. But in social engineering, it relies and it involves human error so that the victim can provide something for the attacker so that he or she can gain control and access that system. Okay? Laway lang ang puhunan. So mistakes made by legitimate users are much less predictable, making them harder to identify and thwart than a malware-based intrusion. So mistakes of our victims are less predictable, mas madali siya or mas mahirap siya na i-predict. And so it is somewhat harder to identify, and it is somewhat harder to investigate what happened because it is the error of such victim that creates damage. It's actually one of the negligences of the victim why he or she has become a victim. Diba? Kasi he or she was convinced, he or she agrees to what the attacker has said, and so he or she has laid down his trust to that person, and so with that the attack happens, and that is actually harder no? To control. Now, all social engineering techniques are based on specific attributes of human decision making known as cognitive biases. So these biases, sometimes called bugs in the human hardware, are exploited in various combinations to create attack techniques. So as you can see, no, if machines have their bugs, if machines or the systems have errors, humans also, we do. We are just like the machines, no? Only that we are more intelligent and more complex. But we also have our errors because our cognitive biases, no, our mga wrong decision making decisions, our cognitive biases where we trust other people, we trust strangers. That is actually our fault as humans, that they are able to capture what they wanted from us. So the attacks used in social engineering can be used to steal employees' confidential information. So the most common type of social engineering happens over the phone, no? So other examples of social engineering attacks are criminals posing as exterminators or fire marshals or technicians to go unnoticed as they steal company secrets. So madaming mga nagdi-disguise na mga social engineers for them to be able to access, no, or gain control. Di ba, maybe a lot of you maybe some or most of you watch movies. Sino nakakita ng Red Notice lately? Yung may pa-promo na yung MOA Globe is nanakaw. But anyone who has seen Red Notice lately? Sa Netflix, mga Netflix and chill? Ayan, si John Roger, nakapanood na. Who else? Si John lang? Si John Roger lang, hindi gumagawa ng mga assignment at module, kaya nanonood siya palagi ng Netflix. Wala na, just kidding, John. But if you could remember, John, no? Or if someone here nahiya lang sumagot na they have watched Red Notice lately, there are a lot of deceptions that happen there. Nagkunwari pa na waiter for them to go to the certain room with Cleopatra's egg, mga ganon. So that is actually a social engineering attack that is evident in movies. Okay? So one example of social engineering is an individual who walks into a building and posts an official-looking announcement to the company bulletin that says the number for the help desk has changed. Okay? So this is one common social engineering attack, no? Na there's one person, the attacker, who goes to a certain company and, di ba may mga bulletin boards sa mga companies, and he would post no, na nagbago na ang service desk or ang help desk for technical na issues for their computers. So when employees call for help in the fake number, the individual asks them for their passwords and IDs, thereby gaining the ability to access the company's private information. But if you're already working, no, class, this would always happen. No? Na you will be given your password, your credentials, your password and your ID. So never ever give it to someone or to anyone. So before my work here in the ICT, I was working as a technical support engineer in an IT operations office of a BPO in Dumaguete. And we are the ones actually troubleshooting the issues of their computers, no, the issues of systems. It was it never happened that we would ask the username and password. Never talaga yan. That is an ISO standard, that you never ask for the credentials, no? But rather, when we would fix computers and we need access to that, we would let the user or the client key in his or her password. we do not ask for the credentials. No? So, kayo din, when you work in the future as IT professionals, never share. Okay? Do not share your password. Okay? So, this is the life cycle of a social engineering attack. Paano ba? Paano ba ginagawa ng attacker ang kanyang modus? Okay? So, first, we begin with investigation. So this is when the attacker prepares the ground for attack. Dito na, nandito ang brainstorming, ang identification, no? So the attacker identifies the victim or victims. They gather the background information at some point. And then from there, once they have identified and gathered the information, they will now select the attack mode. Earlier in our video, yung sa nangyari sa Dumaguete, no? There was that part there when the attackers were already behind, no? They were snooping behind the victim, no? Nagmamatsyag na siya, nagmamasid. What is happening? And they are checking, mukhang matanda na tong babae at mukhang hindi ito marunong gumamit ng ATM. So that's the point of investigation from the attacker. All right? The next stage is the hook. No, by the way, class, the term gancho, no? Gancho, like mangga gancho or gancho. Ano ba yan sa waray? I'm not sure. But gancho is actually the Spanish term for hook. No? Gancho means hook. So that is part of social engineering. They are related with each other, no? So hooking is when the deceiving of the victim or victims gain a foothold. So they are starting, no? They are engaging the target. They are spinning a story, and they are now trying to taking control of the interaction. So earlier in the video, that's when pumasok na ang ating naka-red ball cap, and perhaps even if walang audio yun earlier, no? Perhaps she was trying to tell a story na what is happening, or are you inputting, tama bang in-input mo na password? Baka naman mali ang inano mo, in-input mo. I-try mo kaya tong number na to or whatsoever. And then trying to spin a story, baka walang laman yung cash o baka sira yung card mo. And they're actually taking control of the interaction. Okay? Now, what happens after hook is the play, no? The very meat of our attack. This is where the information is obtained over a period of time. So this is where expanding of foothold happens, executing the attack, no? And disrupting business and siphoning data. Perhaps dito na pumasok yung na-swap na, nakuha na earlier nung naka-red ball cap, ang card. Perhaps at that point then, alam niya na yung PIN. Kung hindi man sinabi ng victim earlier, perhaps nakita niya while keying or inputting the number or the PIN code, no? That's when the main attack happens. And finally, we have the exit. Exit is closing the interaction, ideally without arousing suspicion. Ito na ang closing remarks ng ating mga attackers. Removing all traces of malware, covering tracks, bringing the charade to a natural end. Earlier, perhaps, alis na kami ma'am kasi itry na lang namin sa ibang ATM, di ba? Or ma'am, in as much as we wanted to help you, hindi din namin alam. So, goodbye for now, no? Sa ating ATM na attack kanina. And so, that ends the cycle, and it will begin, or the attackers will begin another investigation to another potential victim. So that's the cycle of social engineering. There are steps, no? This is not to help you, no? This is not to orient you to become social engineers, but rather this is for us to get awareness or to be aware of the steps of this modus that has been happening since time immemorial. Okay, so let us not be victims of social engineering. Okay? And as younger people, di ba, as younger gens, kasi study shows na the most common victims are the older people. Mga Gen X, Gen Z, mga older ones. Because, di ba, they were born to the manual kind of transactions. So they do not know, it is only later in their lives that they knew of this technology, no, of logging into Facebook, logging into social media sites, to withdrawing money from the ATM, no, to using GCash, PayMaya, and everything else. And so I think it is our responsibility as younger people to help our older ones, di ba? Our parents. Do you want your parents, your grandparents to be victims of such? Di ba hindi? And so let's turn it a bit. Tayo naman, di ba? Since we know this technology better than our older people, it is now our turn to give our share, no? Madami ding mga matatanda or older people na they become victims of fake news, they share fake news, they click clickbaits. So let us help, no? Let us help battle these attacks. No? Because what is more painful, no, in losing money, in losing transactions, is that it is our own fault. We have given our password, we have given our PIN. Sino din ba nagbigay? Tayo. Diba yung mga matatanda? And that is very painful. Sana hindi ko na lang binigay. Diba? I didn't know. I didn't know how to use computers. I didn't know how to use ATM machines or AT machines. Diba? So that is more painful. Okay? So let us help them. Diba? I know you have relatives. Your parents, grandparents are there who know less or who know nothing about the technology we have right now. So let us help, or let us discourage social engineering attackers to be successful in their attacks. Okay? So we will do a case study. At the end of our show talaga. At the end of our webinar this afternoon, we will go back to this case study. Okay? Before I continue on with my presentation, before I provide you the social engineering attack techniques and the key principles, we will first do a case study. And we will answer these questions along the way. Okay? Once I go on and proceed with my presentation. So a few months ago, perhaps some of you or most of you have known of this kasi nag-trending to. A few months ago, a GCash scam went viral and made rounds on the internet. Okay? So the perpetrator is known to be a certain Christian Perez on social media. It all started Buracan went to the social networking site Facebook asking for help for his dad's treatment. So these are the questions that we have to answer, ha? What is or are the social engineering attack techniques that were used, and what were the key principles in social engineering that were used? So we will answer these questions later. So if I were you, you take down notes, mga students, so that we can answer our case study later. So for now, this is actually the post of JB Buracan. No? Magandang araw po. Siya po ang aking ama, si Ernesto Buracan. Kami po ay kumakatok sa inyong busilak na puso na sana kami ay inyong matulungan sa abot ng inyong makakaya. Maiyak-iyak. Para sa kanyang pagpapagamot, dahil hindi po sapat ang pang-araw-araw namin dahil sa hina ng biyahe ng tricycle at ako po ay nag-aaral kung kaya hindi sapat ang oras at kinikita ko sa araw-araw, maaari pong ipaabot sa pamamagitan ng GCash with a number, with a picture of his dad. No? So before I proceed to the case study, can I ask for 2 volunteers from our class sa LNU. Dalawa lang, 2 brave souls who can help in our case study. Because what will happen is that I will provide screenshots, no? And then our volunteers will take turns in their dialogues, in the snippets of the conversation. Okay? So we will use your vocalization skills, your talent in speaking. Any volunteer, brave soul? May prize kayo kay mamaya, kay Mr. Harold, ang ating MC. Sige, we have, sige, si Jen and si Anton. Sige, ang ating partner. So, one will take the persona of JB Buracan, our victim, and one will take the persona of Christian, our social engineer. Sige, so since si Genrev na lang ang nauna, you will take the conversation of JV, while Anton will take the dialogue of Christian. Okay? Sige, so go ahead and you may unmute. So we start from left to right now. So ang first na magsasalita is si Christian, taken by Anton, and then followed by Jen. Okay? Gets lang, Jen and Anton. So for the others, listen. So dapat daw yung may feelings para mas magets daw ng ating mga manonood. Para nasa radio daw tayo ngayon, radio show, radio program. But sige, go ahead and let's take it first with Anton.
Hello sir, good morning. Willing po ako mag-send ng kunting cash para sa father niyo.